Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, we're going to focus on something that many of you asked me to do on previous videos. And that's the Smart Key System, commonly known as push button starters. Smart Key System operation is completely different from conventional immobilizer systems that we just use a normal mechanical key. In a Smart Key System, not only we have a push button start, but also we have many other components to detect the smart key when we are approaching the car or when we are inside the car trying to start the engine. So any of those components go bad, we're going to have some issues for locking or unlocking the doors or to start the engine. So in this video, I'm going to focus on the wiring diagram. I will introduce each component. You see the location, you see the diagrams, and I'm going to explain the diagnostic part as well. The wiring diagram that I use today is applicable to all Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis vehicles smart key systems, but you can use the information of this video to diagnose many other smart key systems on other cars as well. This video is going to give you a lot of information, but if you guys are interested to learn more, we have a full online course about the smart key system, operation, and diagnostic in all generations of Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis. In that online course, I explain the diagnostic of each component in details. I explain the common faults and how to diagnose the smart key system with scan tool. If you're interested to learn more about that online course, you can find the link in the video description and the first comment down below. Now let's get started. As I said, in this video, I'm going to focus on the wiring diagram of the smart key system, and step by step, we're going to keep going by talking about each single component on smart key system. So what you see right now on the screen is actually one page of the wiring diagram for a smart key system. Of course, it's not everything, it's just part of it. We will see the other parts later on. We have some videos for reading and analyzing the wiring diagram as well. You can find the link for those videos in video description. This system comes in different generations. If you look at the smart key control module, you see the version is written on it. The first generation was Smart Key version 1.0, and then they developed the system with new versions which were 2.0, 2.5, and 2.7. The first component that you see here is the Smart Key control module, which is actually the main controller for this system. When we keep going after talking about all the components in this system, you will understand more about the Smart Key control module function. The location could be like this car behind the dash on the passenger side. On some cars, this unit is located at the back of the car, sometimes even inside the boot, on the left side, sometimes on the right side of the boot. But wiring diagram and the location inside the wiring diagram is going to help you to locate this smart key control module better. In majority of the cases, this unit is located inside the car, under the dash, and normally on the passenger side. This control module is going to control the operation of the entire system. So those fuses that you see right here, they are really important for operation of the systems. So generally all the fuses for a smart key control module on Kia and Hyundai vehicles are located inside the IP junction box or interior fuse box. So checking those fuses in case of having any failure is really important. If those fuses are broken and if the power supply is not provided on the smart key control module, you cannot turn the ignition switch on and you won't be able to start the engine. The next component that you see in this diagram is RF receiver, RF for radio frequency. So this is the receiver for a smart key system, which in this case that you see is located behind the dash on the driver's side. There are some cases that this receiver is located on the rear side of the car. This receiver is responsible to receive the radio frequency sent from the smart key or the fob key that you have. So anytime that you try to lock or unlock the doors with the smart key, you are actually sending a radio frequency which this receiver is going to receive, and it will send it to the smart key control module. So if this receiver is gone bad, you won't be able to lock or unlock the doors with smart key anymore. You have to use the mechanical key on the smart key. It's going to be very similar to those cases that the smart key doesn't have battery inside. RF receiver gets the power from this fuse from the IP junction box, and as you see, this fuse is not only for this one, it's for the room lamp. So if the room lamp fuse is gone bad, receiver is not going to work anymore. And when you get inside the car, when you are trying to start the car or turn the ignition switch on, you see that the system is not going to detect the key. So in that case, you have to put the key inside the key holder that I will explain very shortly. So this is basically how it works. You press the button on the smart key, radio frequency will be sent from a smart key to the receiver, and the receiver will send it to the smart key control module to unlock the doors. The next component is stop lamp switch or stop lamp relay in this case. So generally the stop lamp switch is on the brake pedal to send the signal of the brake switch to the smart key control module. So you see the location right there, and this is how you can take the brake switch out. So this brake switch is really important when you want to start the car, because if you get in the car, if you don't press the brake pedal, you won't be able to start the car, because for starting the car, system looks at the brake switch signal. Otherwise, if you press the push button, you're going to turn the ignition switch on and off, and that's it. In case of having any fault on the brake switch, normal starting is not going to happen, but there is an emergency starting that you can use for starting the car. I'll leave the link for that video in the video description as well. You can start the car in an emergency even if the brake switch is gone bad. Let's have a look at the second page of the wiring diagram. We can still see the smart key control module down here. This is the instrument cluster to show the warning messages that we might get. For example, key is not in vehicle is actually one of those warning messages. These components that we have at the top, they are door handles on the driver and on the passenger side. On a smart key system, on driver side or passenger side door handles, we have something very specific. If you look at the door handles, there is a button on the door handle. This switch is really important for passive locking or unlocking the doors. So for example, if you press the switch when you are holding the smart key with yourself, this switch is going to send a signal to smart key control module to proceed for detecting the smart key and unlocking the door. So door is not going to get unlocked very quickly. There is a procedure for detecting the smart key, because system needs to make sure that you are carrying a registered smart key with yourself. Then it's going to proceed for unlocking the doors. And for that, we have LF or low frequency antenna inside the door handles. So what you see here is a low frequency antenna inside the driver door handle. There is similar one inside the passenger one. So when you press the switch, that low frequency antenna that you see right now is going to get activated to send a low frequency to locate and identify the smart key. We have some other LF antennas as well. Those two that I explained to you, they are on the driver and passenger door handles. And we have some other low frequency antennas for detecting the smart key in different locations. For example, when you get inside the car, when you want to turn the ignition switch on or start the car, system needs to identify the presence of the smart key inside the car. For that, low frequency antenna number 1, which is normally located right here in the front of gear shifter. We have another one, interior antenna number 2, which is normally behind the gear shifter. We have another antenna at the back inside the trunk area. In case that your car is SUV, this is for covering the rear area as well. In case that your car is sedan, this is for protecting the trunk areas. Just in case if you open the trunk lid and you forget your smart key inside the trunk area, as soon as you close the trunk lid, this antenna starts sending low frequency to monitor inside the trunk area. If your smart key is present inside the trunk area, it will receive the low frequency and it will respond back to the system. So by doing this procedure, system will understand that the smart key is left inside the trunk area and it's not going to proceed for locking the trunk lid. So it will give you a buzzing sound and the trunk lid will not get locked. There is another low frequency antenna inside the rear bumper, and that is necessary anytime that you want to open the boot. If you want to open the boot, as soon as you press the switch on the boot, this antenna will be energized to identify the registered smart key, as I explained for other cases. Parking position switch is a switch located next to the gear shifter. This is very important for the system when you want to turn the ignition switch off. For turning the ignition switch off, system has to detect if the gear position is on the park. If you don't put the gear on the park, or if this switch is broken and system doesn't detect the park position, you cannot turn the ignition switch off. When you press the start button, engine goes off, but the switch is gonna go to ACC mode, and in that case, you won't be able to lock the doors. And system is gonna give you a warning on the instrument cluster as shift to P. On the next page of the wiring diagram, we have some really important components, and the first one is start stop button. This is really important. This start stop button is of course for giving the command to the system to turn the ignition switch on, or to start the engine, or to turn the engine off. But there is something really important. If you look down here, you see a component here as a smart key control module that we know already. And there is another control module right here that is called PDM, Power Distribution Module. On the first generation of the smart key, Kia and Hyundai used two control units. One was the main control unit as a smart key. The second control unit was PDM, which was responsible to provide the power for some components. And of course, that providing the power is not the only thing PDM is using. PDM is controlling the system operation along with the smart key. For example, when you press the start button, not only a smart key is receiving your signal through one switch, there is another switch for sending the request to the PDM as well. System is using two separate signals for two different control units for better detection and operation. It means at the same time, by pressing the start stop button switch, these two switches inside are going to send the request to a smart key control module and PDM. And at that time, these two control units will check with each other to make sure that the other control unit has received the same signal as well. But remember that we have the PDM only on version 1 of a smart key system on these cars. After version 1, on versions 2.0, 2.5, 2.7, we don't have PDM anymore. The next important component is fob holder or fob key holder, or sometimes they call it a smart key holder. Some generations of a smart key in Kia and Hyundai, they have a smart key holder as well. Generally version 1 and version 2, they have fob holder. After version 2, on version 2.5 and 2.7, they stopped using fob key holder. So this fob key holder is normally very close to the start button. Sometimes it's inside the center console, sometimes it's inside the glove box. And it is used for emergency starting the car. For example, if a smart key battery is dead, you cannot normally start the engine because system is going to give you a warning as key is not detected. So in that case, you can put the smart key inside the fob key holder, and even if the smart key doesn't have a battery, you can start the car. Have a look at this one. This is how you can start the car in an emergency when a smart key's battery is dead. You just put it inside the holder like this. So this component is going to communicate with the PDM as you see on the diagram, and you can start the car easily with no issue. And the next important component is electronic steering column lock. This is actually one of the major components on a smart key system, and one of the components that gives you so many issues. And if anything goes bad with this lock, this component, you won't be able to turn the ignition switch on. On a smart key system, because we have a push button starter, that's why the steering column lock is turned electronic. So that's why we have electronic steering column lock to lock the steering wheel for security reason. On the steering column lock, as you see, we have 5 wires. These 5 wires are connected to the smart key control module and PDM. So 2 of them to the smart key, 3 of them to the PDM. So as I said, PDM is supposed to provide the power supply to some components, and one of them is the ESCL. ESCL is the short form of steering column lock. As you see, positive and negative of the ESCL are provided by PDM, and the rest are actually for monitoring the ESCL. Here is the ESCL itself. When you press the start button, ESCL is going to get unlocked, and you can turn the steering wheel to the left or to the right. If anything goes wrong with the ESCL itself or any of those wiring that you see on the screen, you will have a warning message like this: check steering wheel lock system, and you won't be able to turn the ignition switch on or start the engine. But as I mentioned earlier, on any version after version 1, Kia and Hyundai stopped having a separate individual PDM. They integrated the PDM with a smart key. So what's going to happen to the ESCL in that case? This is an example of version 2 smart key wiring diagram. So in this case, as you see, ESCL is located right here. And because PDM is integrated with the smart key, all those 5 wires that you saw earlier, they are connected directly to the smart key. So this was an introduction to Kia and Hyundai Smart Key System, to identify the components, to read and analyze the wiring diagram as well. As I mentioned, we have a full online course that I explain all different versions and everything you need for the diagnostic. So you can find the link for that online course in the video description or in the link down below. We have some other online courses for other systems as well. For the network, for the engine, you can find the links for those ones in the video description as well. Thank you very much everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to subscribe the channel and share the video with your friends.